Hello! Welcome back to For the Kingdom. This is your host, Don McKinnon. I am joined by no one today. If you are a first-time listener to For the Kingdom, this is a podcast that is for established churches, church plants, church replants, church revitalizations. This is to help build the kingdom. That is why it's For the Kingdom. And we deal with a lot of different subjects. We deal in seasons. This is season 2. And today I am here because I have just come off of a Iron Sharpens Iron men's conference. First time I've been to one in several years. And it helped solidify and show me a lot of the things that I did not know have been going on. It seems like since the pandemic, we have seen churches stop men's ministries. A lot of the larger churches have stopped their men's ministries, not even really doing much. It's kind of a weird season, but then I've begun to see a lot of resurgence and a lot of building back. And that is leading to the point of this very podcast today. This is 10 points on the resurgence of men's ministry. Why a new generation of men are returning to the church. This is interesting. For years, the narrative around the church, especially in the West, has been one of decline. Empty pews, aging congregations, a generation walking away. But quietly, almost beneath the radar, something has begun to shift. Not everywhere, not universally, but undeniably, men are coming back. And not just any men. These are young men. This is Generation Z. This is millennials who are coming back. So the first point is a quiet but real shift. Recent data has begun to confirm what most pastors are already sensing on the ground. Something is happening among younger men. A 2026 Gallup poll related report found that 42% of men ages 18 to 29 now say religion is very important to them, up significantly from just a few years ago. That's not a small fluctuation. That's a cultural movement beginning to turn. Even more striking, Generation Z men are now, in some contexts, more likely to attend church than women. That's a historic reversal. Church membership among Gen Z has actually increased in recent years, reversing decades of decline. Across the Western world, researchers are now openly talking about a resurgence or quiet revival, as it's being called, driven largely by young people, especially men. This isn't yet a full-scale revival, but it is a clear directional shift. And if you're paying attention in local churches, conferences, and men's gatherings, you can feel it. 2. Why men are coming back. This movement isn't random, it's a response. First, it's a search for meaning in a disoriented culture. Young men today are growing up in a world that has stripped away clear identity, clear purpose, and clear responsibility. And what they are finding instead? Confusion, isolation, endless digital noise. So they're asking deeper questions. What does it mean to be a man? What is my purpose? What is worth living and dying for? Increasingly, they are discovering that the church still has answers. The second thing is the appeal of structure, discipline, and brotherhood. Many Gen Z and millennial men are not drawn to a soft, passive version of Christianity, as we've seen in the past. They are drawn to discipline, accountability, brotherhood, mission, manhood. In fact, studies show many young men are gravitating toward more structured, historically rooted expressions of faith because they provide clarity and strength. This explains why men's groups are beginning to grow. Bible studies are deepening and retreats are filling up. Men are not looking for entertainment. They're not looking for the loudest, latest music. They are looking for formation and theological background and understanding. The third point is the influence of digital pathways. Another major factor, Christian content is everywhere now. You're listening to one, podcasts. YouTube is full of preaching, social media theology, and online apologetics. Gen Z leads engagement with Christian media, with over 60% regularly interacting with faith-based content. What used to require walking into church buildings now starts with a clip, a sermon, a conversation. And that digital exposure is often the front door back into the church. So that leads to our third point on this resurgence. Millennials and Gen Zs are leading the charge. This resurgence is not being led by older generations trying to hold the line. Instead, it is being led by younger men stepping forward. Millennials and Gen Z are starting Bible studies, leading men's groups, organizing retreats, filling conferences, even before their churches are asking them to. And here's what's fascinating. They're not rejecting older men. No. In fact, they're seeking them out. It's known now that, for the most part, these men, 40 and under, are looking to connect with men 50 and older because they want to learn. They want to be mentored. They want to understand what Titus 2 is, what Paul meant for the older men to mentor and disciple the younger men. The fourth point is this. It's a return to spiritual fatherhood. One of the most important dynamics in this movement is this. Young men are looking for older men to learn from. Not influencers on YouTube, not celebrities, but fathers in the faith. Men who have walked with Christ for decades, have endured hardships, have led their families, have remained faithful. This is the direct fulfillment of passages like Titus 2, older men teaching younger men, and 2 Timothy 2:2, entrusting truth to faithful men. The younger generation is saying, don't give up on us. Don't give us programs. Give us models. And this is why churches that are thriving in men's ministry are not built around events alone, but around mentorship, discipleship, and most importantly, relationship. The fifth point is this, the evolution of men's retreats. One of the clearest signs of this resurgence is how men's retreats are changing. Traditionally, we saw these as Friday nights to Sunday afternoons. Men would go Friday night after work, get there, maybe have a meal, maybe stop for a meal, then go to the first session at 8 o'clock, be done by 9:30, head to bed, and wake up the next morning. Have an all-day Saturday event, and then go to bed. And then get up again, worship on Sunday, and then head home. The problem is, and what we're increasingly seeing now, is Thursday night to Saturday morning. Or Friday night and half a day Saturday. Why? Because men are making a theological statement. We will not sacrifice Sunday worship. You're telling us that we should lead our home, lead our wives, lead our children, show them the importance of church. Why take us away from church? This shift reflects a deeper conviction. Men want to lead their families spiritually. not disappear from them. So instead of I'm gone all weekend, it becomes I'll be home Saturday and we're going to go to church together on Sunday. That's not just scheduling. That's spiritual leadership being reclaimed by this new generation. The next point, the sixth point, is this: the rise of conference-based men's ministry. Another major development is the explosion of men's conferences, especially hybrid and streamed models. Before, like I said, we had iron sharpens iron. For the most part, they were around most of the country. We also had Promise Keepers. These were big events. Then they all pretty much died out, slowly but surely, or almost died out. Now, what we are seeing is movements like Stand Like Men and 1613, and others are doing something new. They're not just hosting events, they are turning around and they are broadcasting them, live streaming them into local churches. Churches now, instead of having to gather the men together and bring them into a conference, bring them into a stadium or an arena, are able to just turn around, bring them into their church, put these conferences on the screen. This looks like churches gathering men on Friday night and Saturday. The national conference is streamed in, and local pastors and leaders facilitate the discussion afterwards. There are materials that these conferences are giving, and the pastors and ministry leaders are able to use these. This model is powerful because it combines national level teaching, local church relationships, and an accessible cost in logistics. It removes barriers like travel, expenses, and time away from family. And it allows even small churches to host high-impact men's events. In fact, I have a friend whose church, little church that they have right now, they're going to be hosting, they are the host in their city for the 1613 conference this July. And they've already almost completely sold out of the room that they have. That's huge. The seventh point is this: why conferences are working right now. Men's conferences are thriving. Again, because they meet several key needs. First is the intensity. Men want focused, intentional time, not scattered programming. Second, they want brotherhood. There is something powerful about hundreds of men gathered together. Just listen to the men singing, the hymns and songs going on. It's very powerful. Third, they want clarity, clear teaching on biblical masculinity, leadership, responsibility, and holiness. Fourth, they want activation. Men leave with action steps, accountability, a sense of mission. And that combination is proving effective in a generation that is tired of the ambiguity that a lot of the larger churches over the last several years since the pandemic have been leaving. This leads to our eighth point. It's a countercultural movement. Make no mistake, this resurgence is countercultural. Why? In a world that often redefines manhood, minimalizes responsibility, and rejects authority, the church is offering biblical identity, a clear purpose, and eternal mission. And for many young men, that is not oppressive, it's liberating. Ninth, the ninth point. What this means for the local church. If this trend continues, and all signs currently right now suggest it will, then churches must be ready. First, to prioritize men's discipleship. Not just events like a men's breakfast, but sincere formation and Bible study and discipleship Second, they have to build intergenerational bridges. Older men must be visible, available, and intentional in these. Third, they have to leverage the conference models. They have to be willing to stream the conferences into the churches and see it not just as a shortcut, but a strategic tool. Fourth, they have to reinforce the family role. Men must be called to lead at home, serve their wives, and disciple their children. The 10th and final thought is this. This is a moment to seize. This isn't hype, and it's not nostalgia. It is not a return to cultural Christianity. It is something deeper. A generation of men is asking, what does it mean to live with purpose, strength, and faith? And the church has an answer, but only if we are willing to speak clearly, lead boldly, and disciple intentionally. Because if we do not step into this moment, someone else will. The harvest is not just plentiful, it is changing. And right now, God is sending men back to his house. Not to sit, not to be a number, but to take a stand, to lead, and be a leader, not just of their home, not just of their wives, not just of their children, but a leader in the church also. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. If you have, like and subscribe, and I'd appreciate it if you shared it. Thanks and God bless. We'll see you later.